Hello friends, Reverend Matt here. I'm in the sanctuary and I just wanted to show you a little bit about what we have been up to over the summer with our renovation and preparation of our space for the gift of a new organ. I want to talk with you a little bit about what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're able to do it, and where we're hoping to go. So bear with me here. Right now, what you see is a lot of plastic covering our holy hardware, a lot of our pews, pew cushions, prayer books, all that sort of stuff, because as you can see behind me, over here we have some space that's been created for our new instrument. In the 1940s, we were gifted with a molar organ, which is a beautiful chancel organ, which covered the full range of Anglican and Episcopal hymnody with lots of different tone paintings and expressions, lots of ability to really get underneath choristers to sing, and lots of different ways to kind of express through music some of our theology, believe it or not, from the tempestuous shocks of St. Patrick's breastplate to bubbling brook imagery that we hear in the Psalms through plain chant. The way in which an organ can kind of get underneath all that is really amazing. So the organ that we had has been removed because it was falling into disrepair. In the 40s, we had the full portfolio of pipes that went with our instrument and had enough power to fill this big old room. As you can see, this is a big sanctuary. And the thing that organs can do pretty easily is get loud, but what they have a hard time doing is having enough support and air moving to really use physics and the acoustic energy to allow us to feel even the quiet notes, for that to have enough oomph to really be able to reach everybody in the room. Before that instrument was installed in the 70s, we had pipes that complemented the original organ and filled up the chamber behind that wall. And so we had enough oomph a long time ago. And when this instrument, which is a tracker organ, was installed, the thinking was that we could combine forces between the reduced volume of the original instrument with the new instrument and still have enough. The challenge with that is we kind of got into warranty trouble when we did that. So we couldn't connect those instruments. A tracker organ, interestingly enough, is a beautiful instrument. We're so grateful we have it, but it's got a narrower range of the music it can play. If you think of a piano and all of the sounds that can make, and then you think of a harpsichord, and it's very similar, but has a more narrow range of what's appropriate to play on it and what it's really designed for, that's how I might consider the difference between the chancel organ, which covers the whole palette of Anglican hymnody, and the tracker organ, which is an authentic expression of hymns from the Baroque period by composers like Bach, for example. So we have an excellent world-class instrument that remains its title as a Wilhelm organ because we had to disconnect it from the other one. Now back to the chancel instrument. As we found out the hard way, this instrument was really tough to maintain, and after a certain amount of service life, the pipes, which are made of a lead tin alloy, begin to kind of collapse in on themselves. Just like me, as I age, I get a little shorter. Our organ was doing the same thing. And we got to a point where we simply got to a maintenance arc in our journey where replacement became the more viable option to get where we need to go, rather than refurbishing the instrument as is and still being underpowered. So what we're doing is creating more space in that chamber on both sides of the chancel here. Chancel is this part in the arch, for our new instrument, which is coming next year. It's being built by the Ortloff Organ Company in Needham, Massachusetts, and a lot of parts are being fabricated already. And what we're doing is preparing the space with all the wiring and all the surface needs to make sure it is the best home for the new instrument that can go forward into generations to come. These instruments outlive us. The amazing way that we were able to get this instrument is because in our discernment about what we needed to do in terms of taking care of our amazing property, living into our mission and legacy as a parish that values music. So many of our membership grew up singing in the choir here under the tutelage of folks like Fred DeHaven or Charlie Walker. Tremendous influences in terms of how people were formed in their appreciation of sacred music and our theology. We were gifted from an anonymous donor the gift of an organ. The instrument itself is paid for, and we're in the midst of preparing to receive that gift so that every measurement is precise and ready to go for when the instrument is built and ready for install next summer. So we've been cutting into plaster, making a lot of dust. We've been protecting all of our valuable things from that dust, and we're getting ready to return to worship in the sanctuary as soon as everything is kind of cleaned up and measured, ready to go for the next phase of our build. So after kind of September 20th or beyond, we'll be back in the sanctuary worshiping at 10 o'clock. We still have music, we'll still have our choir, but we're kicking off our first Sunday back as the program year on September 13th. As we launch our capital campaign and as we are really excited about everyone being back under one roof, even if it's the parish hall. We're going to have a celebration of all that God is up to with us and where we seek to go with our campaign, growing in grace from generation to generation. We are, as part of that campaign, going to be covering our end of the organ accommodation. We've been gifted the instrument, and we're readying this space as part of our contribution to this to be ready for it. That's part of that. Part of what we're hoping to do as well is accessibility work, because in our sanctuary, one of the challenges is if you are here on wheels, you either get to sit, whether that's in a wheelchair or with a stroller, or any assistive device. If you rolled your ankle and have one of those fun knee scooters, you get where I'm going. You have a couple of choices for joining us in worship. You can either sit right up front, which is not anyone's real favorite a lot of the time. That's often among the last seats to be taken. Or you get to sit way back in that far corner, or way back in that far corner, behind pillars and things. And there's some ways in which our building is tremendously helpful, and there's some ways in which the building is in the way. And we're trying to get the building out of the way to embody the kind of welcome we seek to move forward with, where we have a building that is available to all people of all mobility abilities to be able to worship together. So we might be thinking about ways to create a little bit more space here in the sanctuary, as well as thinking about ways to connect our sanctuary to the parish hall, which is currently connected by stairs. And so it's hard to get from coffee hour to the office or coffee hour to worship without going outside and around. So we're thinking about some of those things in addition to supporting the growing ministry programs we have for our children and young people and our youth. So we're kind of thinking about all those things in our capital campaign, which is above and beyond our annual expenses, our annual budget. We're trying to dream big as we enter into our 4th century as a parish. And as we make room for all that is coming, we're faithfully doing our part and invite you to consider prayerfully supporting that work through your prayer, through your presence, through your support of our annual fund, of course, but also considering making a gift to our capital campaign. All of that is going to be helpful over the next 3 years as we seek to respond to the grace and renewal we're experiencing here in our church, where we are growing and deepening our relationships with God, with each other, and with our neighborhood. So lots of good things happening. Did a little tour after worship at 8 and 10 o'clock last week, and just recording this for all those who couldn't be there for that. Hope this is helpful to you. Please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. Happy to talk more about what we're up to, but that's what we're that's what's going on here. It's exciting. It's a little disruptive, but most growth is. And we're looking forward to the year ahead as we continue preparing our space and growing in grace. God bless you. See you in church.